and welcome. This month, the big UP election and the new Chief Minister gave the news media much fodder with anti-Romeo squads and moral policing by the police. But are new media work environments shaped by the modern startup culture any safer or more comfortable for women than the streets of Lucknow? Several Silicon Valley firms, including Uber and Tesla, have been in the news over the past year due to sexual harassment charges by employees. In India, a 24-year-old former employee of the massively popular comedy collective turned entertainment platform, The Viral Fever, wrote an anonymous blog where she accused the founder, CEO, Arunabh Kumar, of repeatedly harassing her and traumatizing her with unsolicited and offensive sexual advances. Within hours, many more women shared similar distressing experiences. On We the People, we're asking, just how progressive are these new companies? Were we naive to be taken in by the fancy logos and fashionable workplaces? The Prime Minister today spoke this morning of a new India on Mann Ki Baat. But beneath the veneer, are these high-profile new Indian companies just as sleazy as the old guard they're trying to replace? Raveena Tandon needs no introduction as she's known for her trademark candidness. Raveena, thanks for joining us. You've refused to promote your new film, Matre or Mother, on The Viral Fever, undoubtedly one of India's leading online channels. So a huge platform for you. Why are you doing this?
You know, it is really sad that a platform which reaches out to so many individuals all over our country and globally has been, you know, these are actually allegations. So, like they say, you know, innocent until proven guilty. For me, that also stands because ultimately the case is, I think, in court, and one can't really pronounce judgment before it is actually proved. But unfortunately for us, that this so-called incident has happened, and we cannot go ahead with promoting our film on TVF, as it's called, the Viral Fever, because of the fact that our film actually promotes or supports women empowerment. It supports the fact that women need to be treated with love, respect, honor, and any form of abuse or violence against women is not tolerated. This is the clear message that our film is giving out. So unfortunately, with the allegations around, it did not seem right to go ahead until and unless, you know, everything was clear.
All right. So for our viewers who missed this story, okay, according to the blog, one evening after this young employee had left for the day, she's called back by Arunabh Kumar. They're both from the same city, Muzaffarpur in Bihar, and he then brings up the red light district in Muzaffarpur and asks her if she knew it, saying that he liked the area, commercial deals happen there, and that she was also here on a commercial deal. So, Raveena, we've heard of the casting couch in Bollywood. We've heard of sexual harassment in the workplace in our parents' generation, where the office predator usually was someone in his 50s and 60s, and the women invariably were secretaries. Today, startups are full of young men in their 30s and early 40s for whom the concept of women working in the workplace is not a novelty. So how do you explain this? You
know, it's actually pretty shocking that this has happened in this new India, which I do call. This whole thing of, like you said, were you know, things that we heard about in the past, whether it was the casting couch or it was pressure on women in the workplace, or whether it was the airlines, or it was actually something that one heard in every, even if a woman worked doubly hard than her male colleague and got a promotion completely on her merit, the jealous ones around would, you know, smear and smirk the guys and turn around and say, oh, she must have slept with the boss. That was something that one heard very often in the past. But now, I mean, it kind of shocks me that something like this, and it's not only this girl who's written on a blog which unfortunately we can't identify her, and not, you know, just completely, I would say I would refrain from, like I said, until the case is proven, to completely endorse the fact what she's saying. But I would also,
many other women,
yes, I was just coming to that. Following this, the other women have stood up and have, you know, endorsed the fact that this has been happening on and off, and they've all had bad experiences. It actually comes as a shock that in today's day and age, when, like you said, these new startups are coming up, and the fact that men and women are working shoulder to shoulder in today's day and age, that something like this is still prevalent. It honestly has shocked me, where it also somewhere, I do believe that it somewhere comes and shows in the upbringing of these kind of people, who still believe that a woman can be treated or humiliated or not taken seriously at all. I mean, if you walk into a workplace, you expect a certain amount of professionalism coming forth. You expect to be treated at par with your male colleagues. I don't see any differentiation. In fact, our women have proved again and again, whether statistically in the field of education, or even today, most of the head honchos or the CEOs of international companies, corporate companies, are women, and women from India, and that's a very, very proud fact. So something like this completely takes you by surprise, or shocks you.
Let's go to Swara Bhaskar, actor and activist. So your latest film, Anarkali of Ara, is about male entitlement. It's about consent. Mr. Kumar, in his defense, is quoted to have said, "I'm a male, I'm heterosexual, I'm single. If I find a woman sexy, I'm going to tell her what's wrong with complimenting someone like that."
Well, I mean, sure, there's nothing wrong with complimenting someone like that, but why would you do it in the office?
I think that in the bedroom, not in the
Twinkle Khanna had a very, I thought, very legitimate response to that, and which was in some article that she wrote, that she said that, you know, if you're a pimp and the lady you're talking to is, you know, your employee, or you're in that kind of relationship with her where she's going to be soliciting clients based on how sexy she is, then yes, maybe it makes sense for you in your workplace to tell her that, oh, she's looking sexy. But otherwise, it kind of, you know, what is the meaning of that in a workplace? What is it so difficult to understand about this? Like, I don't get it. Like, I don't understand why we are, like, still not being able to just get used to the fact that, you know, and there's so much discussion about merit in this new India of ours, and we're all so supportive of merit and so on, but yet at the workplace, somehow it just, that the question of a woman's merit and her professional qualifications just seem to kind of go under the carpet, and how she looks, what she, you know, how she looks, how she is presenting herself, what sex appeal she's bringing on into the office place is more important. And perhaps it's natural, sure, I'm okay with that as well, but then just, you know, keep the thoughts in your head. You don't have to tell us. It's fine. We don't need to hear it. You can think whatever you want, that you're free to do that, but just don't tell us. Simple. And it's not so difficult. Really, I don't think it's so difficult.
Yeah, and I would say that if you want to say something to a woman, hold the thought, think about if you'd say it to a man in your office, and if you wouldn't, then don't say it to your female colleague, because, you know, she's a colleague first and not a woman.
And also, I think just basic, like, I think that, you know, we are all very young, we're all very cool, we're all very funny, but, you know, like, just basic manners are always useful. Like, just going back to, like, the basic manners and etiquette our parents or our teachers taught us in school. I know they were boring, but sometimes they're just, you know, helpful.
Radhika Vaz, you know, Radhika, Ravina makes a crucial point that she says there's something hypocritical about talking about something progressive on a regressive platform. What is disappointing about this whole saga is that TVF and other comedy startups are filled with what we perceive to be young people who are liberal. They push the envelope, they're pushing people's buttons, they create content and make money off content that speaks about women's empowerment and other issues. And at least this is the picture one sees on the outside.
Sure.
You're an insider, you're a comedian, you're a writer. Were you surprised?
I'm never surprised when I hear about bad behavior like this. Again, I don't know this particular gentleman. I'm calling him a gentleman loosely. I don't know him. The only people I've met at TVF actually are the women's group, and, you know, none of them tried to assault me, which was nice. But I definitely think that, you know, the one thing Ravina said was she was so surprised. I'm not surprised, because the one thing that's not changed in India is the way we raise our kids. That's not changed. We're still raising them without any concept of sexuality, sexualization, workplace, etiquette. We don't teach them how to behave with girls in schools and colleges. How they're suddenly going to wake up when they go to, you know, work.
In this case, this gentleman, as you put it, he's an IIT grad.
Yeah.
He runs a firm which has over 100 employees. It's
Look at
valued
IIT though,
at
it's mostly
200
men.
crores.
It's mostly guys. Like IIT, the percentage of women studying there is so low. The women teaching there is so low. You can't carry on a country like this with men everywhere and then expect a different type of reaction when they come to work and see all of us in our dresses. They behave ridiculously, and that's because there's not been enough pushback. Now the pushback is becoming very vocal, I feel. Like yesterday actually, we were talking about this because I knew I was coming here. Everybody I know, I'm 44, all my friends had some story or the other. The difference is now, I think women are much more vocal and we should all keep pushing them to be.
Now, again, I say you're an insider. Now, the work culture at most of these places is, it's much more casual, right? There are no work hours.
There are no offices even in some cases.
There are no offices.
Yeah.
You may be having a team meeting at your local bar over a glass of beer.
Exactly.
There's no dress code. Every day is casual Friday. The only code there is, you know, work hard, party hard, and above all, like, be cool, man. And for women, it seems being cool means smile, take a joke, you know, don't be a party pooper.
Yeah.
Is that it?
I definitely think that's it. And I think that's been the case for a very long time. Like, I remember back in my 20s, like, being the cool girl meant you kind of laughed at all the jokes that the guys made, even if they were bad. And unfortunately, that's still kind of the thing. It's a patriarchal it's a patriarchal, I'm glad that was only that word, not something else, I mean, it's just, that's what we're mired in. And
but you're a comedian, and I mean, you're known, you're really a USP because you're a woman who talks dirty.
Yeah.
Like, the guys do it and it's okay, but for you, in your case, is that something that attracts people to come and watch your shows?
I think a lot of the women who come to watch my shows are just like, oh good, there's someone else out there who sounds like me and it's not weird. Or I'm glad she's saying it that exact way, and you know, yeah, I guess that's part of the appeal that I have. But I also think that, you know, even with women, like, we also have to straddle a line where sometimes when we see something in the media, we have to be careful of how we present it so that we don't make it worse. Because even if we are joking, it can still cross a line that makes it uncomfortable. Like, I definitely have a lot of stupid jokes that I keep making, but when this thing came out, I had to be careful on how I spoke, because I didn't want the women who were involved in this.
You didn't want to dismiss them.
I didn't want to dismiss them in any way.
But we have lines, or we set our own lines, but they don't seem to be lines in the workplace when it comes to men. Like, according to this blog, and again I say it's an anonymous blog, the writer says that at one point a KRK walked in and Arunabh promised him to serve a couple of us on a platter. I'm assuming she means these are women employees and they're lower down on the hierarchy. So again, like I said, we don't know if this is true. This is an anonymous blog, but TVF hasn't come out to counter it. Is it that, you know, sexism just gets codified in the workplace with these niceties, or it's locker room talk and, like, you know, it's complimentary, and women, if we either love our jobs or we need our jobs, we have to put up with it?
I mean, I think I completely agree with Radhika that there is a sense of, you know, there's this thing about be a sport. Oh, come on. Are you going to be like, you know, oh, feminist, feminazi, you know, like all that hashtag men are the real victims. So, you know, now we have like, so it's not just enough to think about, you know, just your basic, like, you know, it's almost like just the stuff that was okay like about a decade ago, which is to talk about women's rights and to talk about women's issues and women's problems. So now it seems we have to, okay, you can talk about it, but also apologize to not all the men and all the men who are the real victims and hashtags and so on. I think the problem is this kind of, that working urban, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I can talk about my space, is that there is a need to kind of be there, to be part of the gang, to be like the bros. Yeah. So to be able to, like, you know, take a joke and, you know, also, you know, kind of laugh it off and be nice. And I think that just at a very simple level, if it's okay to be offended.
Radhika, actually, Aditi Mittal, the comedian, referred to it as a bro code. You agree?
Yeah, I completely agree. In fact, I was telling someone else here that the only difference between 20 years and today is that 20 years ago, the guys were wearing unfashionable pants. Now they wear skinny jeans. Like, that is literally all.
And they have a man bun and they have the hipster beard.
And they have that hipster beard. In fact, he's done for hipster beards what my old friend Mr. Tejpal did for the old man ponytail.
All right, okay. Now, look, I have to say that we did ask TVF to join us on the show, but they refused to even respond to any of our requests, and perhaps they're just waiting for the media to pick up the next big story and move on, and that is the nature of this medium, so that might just happen. But this is we the people, and we believe there are two sides to every story. So let's try and take a look at the other side. Vrinda, you're a lawyer, you're a human rights activist, and also you represent the women who have filed cases against R.K. Pachori. But the fact is here, this is an anonymous blog, and perhaps understandably or not, nobody has come forward to actually file a complaint, to go to the police. So how much cognizance can we give to an informal complaint?
So let's ask ourselves, why is it an anonymous blog? Why is this woman wanting to say, look, this is what's happening, but I am not telling you my name or identity, and this is not the first time it's happened that women have said what is happening without revealing their identity. And I think that question is to all of us, not just to TVF. Because to my mind, she is so scared. She has no confidence in all of us that we will rally around her, we will support her, and for good reason. We know what happens on Facebook, Twitter, etc., and how we can completely tear her apart. And there are other women already writing, oh, he didn't say it to me. So like, if the murderer has not murdered every person he has met in his entire life, then he can't be a murderer. That's the logic that I would imagine people are using within that office. And the legal system is giving her no confidence. The police is giving her no confidence. I do not at all blame her for not.
I agree. Like I said,
so now let's move to the next question.
She hasn't come up.
Yeah, I'm saying it's not just understandable.
Should a company, how far can a company go to take this blog to be true?
Okay, so what is the burden on the company? What is the responsibility of the company? One, I'm saying it's not understandable. It is reflective of us, and we need to make the change so that she can confidently come forward. And what is at stake is her employability. Women, as you and I both know, are not going to the workplace to have fun. We are running our homes with the money we are earning. This is not a fancy thing women started doing 20 years ago. She may not get another job if she reveals her name and identity. That perhaps is her biggest crisis just now.
Well, he could very easily get another job. Mr. Pachori, I think, was taken back and given a promotion.
He is today, I believe, on many international circuits, and you know, he was removed as head of TERI, I think a year later, when just about everybody had spoken out about it, not without all that pressure from civil society, not any legal system, not the system within the workplace. What is the burden on the organization? I don't care what is the nature of the workplace. It could be a modern setup, it could be a traditional setup, it could be a courtroom, anywhere. The law would apply. And the law says, do you have an internal complaints committee? From what I have read, and it is a little confusing, and TVF is not clarifying, so I am not going to give them the benefit of doubt. I'm going to read it against them. There does not seem to have been an internal complaints committee at the time when the anonymous blog came out. Thereafter, there are other women, as you have just informed us, who have complained with their names. So what does it show? And I want to link here to something that you said earlier, that what's wrong about it, someone being called sexy. What we are looking at is the creation of a hostile work environment for all the women working there. This is not just about me being addressed as sexy. It's about what my other women colleagues are hearing, that, oh my God, this is the expectation of the boss from all of us. This is who I am. So this is about women as a class at that workplace.
But again, it's an anonymous blog, and
right.
How do we know, let's say a competitor isn't behind this?
All right. So what is the best way forward? Hold an inquiry. You don't have an internal complaints committee. Maybe you've just set it up. Who has nominated? Are those people going to inspire confidence? Even in the case of TERI, that woman later went and filed a complaint, and the inquiry committee actually indicted him. It's a different matter that he got a stay from a superior court. Hold an inquiry. Now the matter is public. There are others who've come forward. Make sure this man cannot influence that inquiry. Call credible people who will inspire social confidence. The police has taken cognizance. Let the police investigate. We have to give confidence, and the company is under a severe legal liability today, where many women have said this is not a safe working place. It's nothing to do with the anonymous blog. The anonymous blog has arisen because there were lapses on the part of the employer, and those lapses are legal. I want to just add one thing here. There is a state government responsibility here. Supposing I'm a company where there is a fire that breaks out because I'm running a restaurant, and a fire breaks out because I've not complied. Everybody from the municipality is going to come breathing down. What does a safe workplace for women mean? It means no sexual harassment. The state government under the law can order and initiate an inquiry. Have you heard anybody in the state government? They seem to be very concerned nowadays about women's safety.
Even though we saw the government act in the Tarun Tejpal case in Goa, they stepped in, but in this case they haven't really stepped in.
Actually, the government did not act. There was an FIR registered.
An FIR has been registered here, not by the lawyers of these women, but by a lawyer.
That's perfectly fine. The law does not say she needs to go and lodge the FIR. If the police gets to know that there is information about a crime, the police has a responsibility as per law to register the FIR, which they shirk on each occasion.
And I'm just pointing out the difference in the police's reactions in two cases.
One is a case of allegation and accusation of rape, where a charge sheet has been filed for digital rape, and one is a case of sexual harassment. So there is also a distinction in the crime and the gravity of the crime that we're talking about.
We've not heard, TVF doesn't seem to be responding at all. We don't know if they have an ICC because they just haven't been responding. Let's go across to Meghnad Bosi, the reporter with Quint. He's been following the story right from the start. So has TVF been receptive? Is there any understanding that you've gotten from speaking to them and your sources there that they are even taking this seriously? Did they have an ICC? Do we know?